The city's noise, the sound of rushing cars, and the constant haste, these were all a part of Liam's life. He was a photographer who captured images of a fast-moving world. He was good at it. His photos were technically perfect, sharp, and vibrant, but they lacked a certain warmth. Every picture told a story of a city always on the move, but his own life seemed to have none. He was a lone man standing in a crowd, his soul tired from the endless noise and the feeling of being an observer, never a participant. He longed for something real, something that didn't move at 100 miles an hour. One day, overwhelmed by the chaos, he put his camera aside and began walking without a destination, simply letting his feet guide him away from the familiar. At a turn in the street, he found a place he had never seen before. It was a small, quiet alley that felt like a secret portal to another world. Ivy-covered walls surrounded an old, beautiful shop. The sign above it was hand-painted, slightly peeling, and read, "Listen, a story." A soft bell chimed as he opened the door, and he was immediately enveloped by a sense of calm. The old, earthy smell of books filled the air, mingling with the subtle scent of jasmine tea. The shop was a sanctuary, lined with books everywhere, from floor to ceiling. In the midst of them, bathed in a shaft of golden sunlight, sat a girl. Her name was Ava. She was reading an old book, holding it with such care that it seemed precious. On her face was a kind of peace that Liam had never witnessed. Liam, instinctively, raised his camera to take a picture. The click of the shutter was a jarring sound in the quiet space. Ava looked up, not with annoyance but with a slight smile. "Some pictures are only taken with the eyes," she said softly. "They can't be captured in a camera." Her words were gentle, yet they hit him with the force of a revelation. He lowered his camera, stunned. It was the first time he had seen someone so lovingly welcome him into their world. From that day on, Liam started visiting the shop every day. At first, he would wait outside, taking pictures of the alley's quiet charm. Then he began to go inside, picking up a book and finding a corner to sit. He wasn't just reading the book, he was watching Ava. One day, she walked over to him, a gentle curiosity in her eyes. "You come here every day, but you only read one book," she said. Liam smiled, closing the book. "I love the story in this book, but even more than its story, I love its peace. It's the only one that feels like a home to me." Their conversations began from there. They would spend hours talking about classic literature, the philosophy of time, and the small, beautiful things in life. Liam's life was changing. He was no longer just an observer. He was now a part of a story. One crisp autumn evening, they decided to close the shop early. They walked to a small, secluded park nearby, its leaves a brilliant red and gold. They sat on a bench and shared a thermos of hot cocoa. "My friends think I've gone crazy," Liam confessed with a laugh. "They don't understand why I'd give up a chance to photograph skyscrapers for a bookstore." Ava smiled, a warm and understanding look on her face. "Sometimes, the biggest stories aren't in the tallest buildings, Liam. They're in the quietest places." It was in that moment, under the soft glow of a street lamp, that Liam knew he was falling in love with her. Their peaceful world was soon threatened. A sleek, modern cafe chain, Urban Grind, wanted to buy Ava's shop. Their manager, a fast-talking man in a suit, told her it was prime real estate and her little shop was a waste of space. "This is your chance to make some real money," he said, his voice slick and unfeeling. Ava refused, but the constant pressure began to wear on her. He would show up unannounced or call at odd hours, making her feel small and insignificant. One evening, Liam found her looking at the old sign, her eyes filled with fear. "They say this is just an old building," she whispered, her voice trembling. "That my stories don't matter." Liam, a man who once hid from conflict, stood tall beside her. "Your stories matter more than anything," he said firmly, taking her hand. At the same time, Liam received a prestigious offer to photograph a major advertising campaign in New York. His old life, was calling him back. His best friend Ben called him ecstatic. "Dude, this is it. The big break. Why do you sound so calm?" he asked. Liam hesitated. "I've found something more important, Ben," he said softly. Ben laughed. "More important than a career-defining opportunity? What, did you find a perfect lighting filter?" Liam didn't answer. He knew Ben wouldn't understand. Faced with a choice, his successful, noisy life, or this quiet, soulful one with Ava, Liam looked at the fear in her eyes and realized his path was clear. He had found what his photos and his life were missing. That night, he went back to the shop, not with his camera, but with a small portfolio. He showed her the photos inside. They weren't of the city or monuments. They were photos he had taken of her reading in a patch of sunlight, laughing at his jokes, a quiet moment of reflection. He also showed her a series of photos he had taken of the alley, capturing its hidden beauty. "These are the first photos I've ever felt truly captured a soul," he said. "And I'm not going to New York. I'm staying here. We can tell new stories right here, together." Ava's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of a quiet, profound joy. He didn't confess his love with big words. He confessed it with the pictures that she had inspired. She held his hand, her fingers interlacing with his, and with a shared smile, they decided to face life together from then on. The next morning, Liam and Ava started a new venture. They stood up to the manager of Urban Grind together, and with a mix of courage and creativity, they transformed her shop into a small cafe. They called it the Storyteller's Corner. It was a home for both of their passions, books and photography. Here, people could read books, drink chai, and see Liam's photographs displayed on the walls, pictures that now had warmth, a soul, and a story. The old sign, "Listen, a story," was carefully cleaned and placed above the entrance to the cafe. One evening, an elderly man came into their cafe. He picked up an old book and began to read it, a look of profound peace on his face. He looked at Liam and Ava, who were sitting together on a small sofa, and said, "You two have given this place a new soul. It is no longer just a shop. It is a home for a story." Liam held Ava's hand. A smile was on both their faces. They knew that their story had not only changed their own lives, but had also brought love and peace to many others. And what could be more romantic and true than that?